Today on 16-bit Game Reviews,
I crash into a car. I run into a rock. And finally, I crash into another car.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a mini review of Rally X and New Rally X. Just as a side note, I've actually not played either of these games in an arcade. However, I played a very good equivalent, which is called Namco Museum Volume 1. I would recommend getting this if you actually want to play these games. The gameplay is very simple. Your goal, collect a bunch of flags. And if you collect all of them, you get bonuses and you keep going. And that's the story for the first game. And the second game, you have little smoke pellets which you drop, which will stun the cars. There are boulders. If you crash into them, you blow up. If you crash into, well, basically anything that's not a wall, you will blow up. And that's a good thing because you'll be crashing into the wall a lot. The game is extremely fast. It's a fast-paced game. You have to keep you on your toes in order for you to do any good and not be as bad as me, because I just blow up a lot or lose fuel. Speaking of fuel, you will be keeping a close eye on that, because if you run out of fuel, you will basically get a game, not a game over, but you'll lose a life, because you actually have a fuel gauge, and if you run out of fuel, you lose a life. Sadly, there, at least in New Rally X, you have a flag which you've called L. I call it L. And if you collect it, you have your fuel drained, and you get points for it. And then you keep going with the amount of fuel you had initially. Cool, right? As I said, you have to collect flags. Each flag gets you a point. There's a flag that has the word S on it. S will get you double points for every flag you haven't collected yet. L will get you points for the amount of fuel you have less, but if you have L and the S and the L flags, you'll get double the amount of points for the amount of fuel you have. So, points. The controls for both games are exactly the same. You have a joystick which does movements of up, down, left, right. You have a button which causes the car to fart, black smoke, and a start button. And that's it. Sound effects is where Rally X fails and New Rally X succeeds a little bit better. In Rally X, you have no music, and the only thing you hear is the revving of the car. Yes, there is a bit of background sound effects, but come on. I don't even consider that music. It's a 3-second loop, and they could have done so much more. This is the same sound chip that they put into Pac-Man. Come on, you could have done better. And they did with New Rally X. New Rally X has better music. It has a slightly less annoying sound effects. And that's about it. You get points, you get sound effects. You fart, you get sound effects. You complete a stage, you get sound effects. And music throughout the whole thing. Lovely. Both games' graphics are exactly the same and only have one word to describe it: pixelated car mess. That's it. That's the best way to describe it. Everything's just a pixelated car mess. Rally X doesn't hold up. I personally don't like it. It's too hard. It's too mind-numbingly boring, and the engine sound effects is just, it's like a little drill going into my skull. It's just annoying. New Rally X is a bit easier to play, it's a bit easier to get used to, but it still doesn't really hold up. They're both great games at the time, but now there are better alternatives. And for maze type games, Namco already outdid themselves with the original Pac-Man. So if you ever want to get this game, please go on to our official 16-bit video games store on the eBay's links in the description, and I would recommend getting the Namco Museum version of this game because I don't know if it actually exists outside of the Namco Museum universe. Or if you're extremely lucky, or you live in Japan, you can go and pick yourself up a copy of the actual arcade machine. Or if you're extremely lucky, you just pop over to an arcade and all of a sudden it's magically there. You don't know how it got there, but it's there. So, thank you for watching, please subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.